Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to Lone Pine Tarot for the first time if you're new here, and as I always say, thank you so much for joining me for our pick a card reading today. Now today's pick a card reading is kind of like an advice reading, but specifically we're asking Spirit to suggest a small change that will help your life transform. Now, for some of you this might whittle down to something very specific that you're working on, that maybe you kind of kept coming across dead ends and you're like, I have no idea where to go next, I don't know what path to take. For some of you, this might be a change that will help you in life in general. So we'll see the finer details on what the change is, of course, when we get to your reading. But first, we do have to pick our piles. So today we're using the Dream Ritual Oracle. Calling on Spirit, please guide us to the correct cards for each pile to choose their messages with. Thank you. Okay, this one is quite prominent, so I'm going to take that one for pile number 1. As for pile number 2 and 3, feeling drawn to this one. And then this one for pile 3. Now let's unveil the cards together. So for pile number 1 over here on the left, your pile leader today is Adventure. For pile number 2 here in the middle, your pile leader today is, we're upside down, we have Compassion. Beautiful. And last but not least, for our wonderful pile number 3 over here on the right, your pile leader today is Request. Okay, so for pile 1, Adventure. For pile 2, Compassion. And pile number 3, your pile leader is Request. Though, as I always say, you're perfectly welcome to pause right here if you need more time to deliberate what pile is calling to you. If you're new to pick a card readings and you want my suggestion for a method, or maybe you just want to take a quick, quiet, few peaceful moments out of your busy, stressful day, please follow my voice right now for our meditative moment. So close your eyes and take in a deep, cleansing breath. Imagine light filling your lungs as you do so, then hold it for just a moment or two. And then when you breathe back out again, open your eyes and see where are they drawn most first out of these 3 different piles. I always say you'll feel when it is right down in your gut or with your intuition, we like to say in the community of spirituality, of course. And that is the pile I recommend you choose. But whatever your method, when you are ready, drop down to the description box below or the top pinned comment beneath the reading. Find the timestamp there for your pile, and I'll see you in our chat about the small change that will help you watch your life transform. See you in the reading. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 1. Welcome to your pick a card reading about the small change that will help your life transform. And as you recall, of course, you were drawn to the beautiful card of Adventure with the ocean spilling forth from the, looks like I guess technically a conch shell. Anyone that's into marine biology, feel free to correct me in the comments down below if that's wrong, but I think it's a conch shell, right? So adventure, oftentimes, of course, when we hear the word adventure, what comes to mind is a big undertaking, a journey of some sort. It could be that maybe some of you came to this reading asking about maybe a move that you're considering or some sort of really big undertaking that you're facing and you're maybe not quite sure what's the right first step, or perhaps some adventure that you've already been on. And as I said in the intro, maybe you've come to a crossroads or a dead end and you're like, I just need one little glimpse of advice that will help push me forward past this little kind of mountain in the way of the goal or the thing that I'm trying to attain. Okay, so that's at least intuitively what I'm hearing right off the bat with your reading. But of course, we'll see more details with your other cards, pile 1. So let's draw your pile leader to the left here in its usual place. And we're going to draw 2 different spreads to begin. First, your first oracle card, the Wild Harmonic Oracle. And then, of course, your tarot spread. So, Spirit, could you tell me a little bit more about the shift you think that they should take, as well as kind of what's going on? Thank you. Just to tap into your energy here, pile 1, for me as the tarot reader to understand. Okay. There we go. That's the one. Beautiful. Okay, and then let's draw your tarot spread, pile 1. using the Tarot of the Divine today. I have not used this deck in a short minute. I don't know what it is. I always kind of associate this deck with like fall and winter, but it's not really a very season-oriented deck, so. Beautiful, though. Right there. Okay. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Thank you for your patience as I drew the cards. Pile 1. Now let's unveil your Wild Harmonic to begin. So you received, one of the shadow cards. Dimensional of Shadow, Perfect Circle. We'll talk about that more in a short minute. I also like to always read the guidebook with this particular oracle deck. Only oracle deck I really do it with, but that's because it's written very well, as I always say when I use it. So, Dimensional of Shadow, Perfect Circle. We might have a little bit of a shift regarding, this is at least what I'm intuitively hearing, pile number 1. Based on my intuition, I think maybe you get into some sort of repeated patterns or like loops of some sort, or things that are like self-fulfilling prophecies. That's another way that I think Perfect Circle can kind of manifest itself. But as I said, let's keep going and see what happens with your tarot cards. We have the 5 of Pentacles reversed. Okay, so this pile 1, I think what area of your life this is mostly related to is you trying to create some sort of shift, or the universe / spirit trying to push you towards a shift in the area of where hardships are. Because the 5 of Pentacles, pile number 1, you got it reversed. If you look at it upright, though, you see a figure. She's in the cold. She doesn't even have any shoes. Her clothes are tattered, and she's just outside of what almost looks like a church of sorts because of the stained glass, right? So the 5 of Pentacles can represent hardship. It can represent maybe being left outside of a place that is warm or secure, or sometimes it can also represent even like authority failing us, or, not being provided for in that way. Reversed, it's like trying to overcome that situation. So this is the area of your life that this is stemming from. You're overcoming a hardship. You're trying to make progress, especially because it's a Pentacles card, pile number 1, especially in the areas of life regarding finances and career, because it's Pentacles. Okay, but in general, it's like you're trying to make things warmer in your life, metaphorically speaking. You're trying to make things safer and easier. And yes, as I said, possibly, most likely, a lot of you watching this are trying to overcome financial hardship or a career-related thing. Loss of a job, trying to find a job, issues at a particular job if you're currently in one, things like that. Okay, so that's the adventure I kind of see maybe that you've been embarking on. Is trying to improve those things. Then we have the 4 of Wands. Speaking of the home, okay, the 4 of Wands is often the card of happiness in the home, and stability being the number 4. All right, we do also see the number 4 with the 4 quadrants of the circle in your Wild Harmonic Oracle card. Happiness in the home, stability in the home, yes. Okay, very clear picture coming forward. Let's keep looking. Heart of the matter is the Moon reversed. Breaking an illusion. Okay, so this is probably where the advice will start coming in, pile 1. We'll talk about that more later. That's the shift I think we're getting into. Oopsie. There I go throwing cards. I did not mean to throw that. We have the 7 of Swords. Speaking of illusions, now we have the card of trickery. We have, this is the coyote figure from Native American mythology, right? Oftentimes a trickster figure. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry. I was getting a bit of an intuitive sense there. And then we have the Devil. All right, the Devil is about the things that hold us back, the things that bind us. It's almost like a jail cell card sometimes. Sometimes it's the card of the things that chain us, addictions, bad habits, bad relationships, things along those lines. Interesting. Okay, so as I promised, we're going to talk through the Wild Harmonic Oracles guidebook just for this particular card. So Dimensional of Shadow, Perfect Circle, as you recall here, pile number 1. I will try to find it as fast as possible. There we go, just found it. Perfect. Okay, pile 1. Perfect circle, dimensional of shadow. As the dimensional expanse falls into denial, the need to defend oneself keeps light out. Meditation. The power of logic used to deny that which it cannot perceive, and the ability of circular thinking to generate a power impulse to believe. This card warns of the mind's ability to generate ideas that prove each other, thereby generating an intense sense of certainty and fooling, even trapping one to their self-reflective misery, a bit of a Z sound there, of justification. All right, so that's that circular thinking or self-fulfilling prophecy I mentioned earlier, pile 1. Ideas certainly have their way with me, and while I like to think that I have a clear mind, it is often apparent that I've decided something is a fact based purely on other ideas that say it is so. When these ideas get together, they have a way of taking me over and compelling me into disintegrating behavior, and the inquiry is, how is logic and how things are getting in my way of creation? And that is very fitting with a lot of the cards you got today, pile number 1, because you have the Moon reversed and the Seven of Swords. These are cards, as I said when I pulled them out, of breaking illusions and trickery or deception. There's something here regarding a change that Spirit is suggesting that you undertake to break a sort of illusion in your life, to break a sort of a self-deception or trickery. This Wild Harmonics card, the Perfect Circle, kind of gives a bit of an illustration into exactly what this is. And I think pile number 1, if I had to nail it down to one, what applies to at least most of you watching this is you might fall into a pitfall of, well, this is the way that it has always been, so this is the way that it will always be. That is the illusion, okay? Maybe you came from a life of a lot of hardship, even from childhood. Hence that Five of Pentacles there is the inciting incident or the first card of your spread. You've maybe tried to overcome that a lot. Maybe that's why success in career and finances has been so important to you, as it is to a lot of us. No shame in that, right? Pile number 1. Same thing, too, with Four of Wands. That is stability in the home, stability in the family, okay? Also, sometimes it can represent celebration. Maybe it's representative of that's really what makes you feel proud and ambitious and successful in life, is overcoming this hardship, because I feel like maybe for a lot of you it has defined you from such a young age that's kind of been like, if you were a hero in a story, pile number 1, your main villain or big baddie to fight off would be the fear of failure, or in terms of like career and success and finances and things like that. Or it could also be potentially portrayed as a villain of, I came from lesser means. I came from, not a lot of capability regarding finances and security. And now I have to overcome that. And by overcoming that, then I can finally find that stability and that security that I have always sought after. Okay. That is your adventure that I'm seeing here, at least. It's obviously not like all of your life, pile number 1. I mean, it doesn't mean like this is the entirety of your life, but it seems to be at least a kind of a big major factor, potentially even like this is a life lesson related thing for your soul in this particular incarnation, this life on Earth, okay? The illusion, pile number 1, is the way that you think about it. The illusion, pile number 1, is almost defeatist thinking, self-defeatist. This belief that, well, this is, as I said, this is the way it's always been, so this is the way it's going to be. I almost wonder, pile number 1, do you happen to self-sabotage a lot? Do you happen to not believe in your ability to overcome your circumstances? And I don't always mean that in the way of like, or I don't mean that it's always in the way of like, you literally think to yourself, well, I can't overcome this, so I'm just not even going to try. I mean, maybe sometimes it is like that, but sometimes it's deceptive. Hence, the Moon reversed again, and the Seven of Swords being the card of trickery. And especially, too, pile number 1, the Devil here at the end. That's, as I said, the card of toxic habits, the card of toxic relationships, things that hold you back, things that imprison you in a way, quote unquote, chain you. That's what's holding you back. Honestly, pile number 1, yes, of course, there's always going to be external circumstances that hold you back. That is normal. You don't have 100% control of everything in your life. So it's not, this reading isn't saying, well, you just need to think about yourself better and you need to be more optimistic and everything, is completely in your control. No, it's not that, pile number 1. But what it is saying, or what Spirit is saying, is that this particular struggle in your life would be 100% easier to traverse and easier to work through if you broke this illusion. Now, I'm just gonna, for my own satisfaction as the tarot reader, I want to draw one more clarification card on that moon reversed. I'm pretty sure I know what the illusion to be broken is because of the other cards, but let's keep going. Spirit, can you give me one more card on the moon reversed? What's the illusion that they need to break? Okay, well, this one is just like, pick me. We have the Three of Swords. That is the card of hardship, once again, like the Five of Pentacles, sort of. And the card of pain. Interesting. The card of pain for what is the illusion that needs to be broken. You know, give me a second on that, pile number one. I'm going to draw your last two oracle cards because that might also help expand on that. I already am getting kind of a feeling of what that means, but I just want to make sure, based on the other cards, that I am correct in my intuition. So, but what I'll tell you, pile number one, as I'm drawing these cards, is the reason why Spirit wants you to adapt this change into your life is because if you adapt this change into your life, it will turn around this Devil card and the Five of Pentacles reversed. It'll give you an opportunity to overcome the hardship. It will also free you in a way. That's the life transformative process of this whole shift. The whole part of the reading for you of, you know, what's going to transform if I make this change. And then these cards might also help expand a little bit more on the change itself too, or like what's going to change after you make the change. I guess I should say it that way. Okay, power of surrender. Surrender the habit of people-pleasing. Speak your needs and be true to yourself. Focus on your own happiness instead of always trying to make everyone else happy. That's what the Three of Swords is about, pile one. So I was a tiny bit off in my intuition because I was thinking here with the Three of Swords, and that might still apply to some of you, but I was thinking when the Three of Swords first came out as the clarifier on the moon reversed, I was like, man, you know, maybe pile one, like, oh, I'm trying to find the best way to say it. It's not a victim mentality, pile one. It's not that. But what my initial intuition was telling me is it's almost this illusion of not just the circular thinking of, well, this is the way it was, so it's the way it's always going to be, but also like self-inflicted pain, not a victim mentality, as I said, but in a way where it's like you almost feel like you deserve to suffer, so you make yourself suffer, that kind of thing. It's not the victim mentality, it's making oneself a victim in a way. But this card provides a little bit more clarity where I think some of you too, it might be people-pleasing. That might be what the pain is being caused, because it's literally, now I don't remember exactly what, I believe this is a Japanese folktale that the Three of Swords is depicting, which interesting, so is the moon. The moon is also depicting a Japanese folktale. But I think, if I remember right, it's something to do between, like, a woman and her husband. That's the shadow back there on the shoji screen, right? And so it's like, it was like she was cutting her wings off just to please him, or it was like something along those lines. So especially when now the surrender, the habit of people-pleasing card came out, now I'm like, oh, that provides a lot more understanding, okay. As it says, speak your needs, be true to yourself, focus on your own happiness instead of always trying to make everyone else happy. You know what it also is? You're too self-sacrificial, pile number one. I think that's what's been holding you back. Part of the illusion, too, is not just making yourself a victim, but with the added detail of don't make yourself a victim to please everybody else. What's that phrase? Don't set yourself on fire to keep everybody else warm. Okay, if I had to coalesce all of this reading into one sentence, that's what it would be, pile one, with the added thing here with the perfect circle of just because you used to and always have been expected to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm doesn't mean you need to keep doing it yourself. I wonder if some of you, maybe when you were a child, you were kind of like, you know, this goes into a lot of sibling dynamics, and I'm not a therapist, I'll always admit that. I'm not trained in like therapy or whatnot, but from what I know, at least in general, sometimes our roles when we're children in our family make us the self-sacrificial victim of the family. Okay, sometimes you're the scapegoat. Sometimes it makes you into the child who's always responsible and always has to give up everything to please the other siblings. That kind of dynamic, if you know what I mean, pile number one. And I wonder if that was you when you were young. And so it's this repeating cycle. But that's the illusion you need to break. You don't need to cut your wings. You don't need to people please. And that will set you free here with the devil, okay? That's what's holding you back. And two, we talk about so much like freeing yourself and not cutting your wings, and then your pile leader you were drawn to was adventure. And I wonder, pile number one, if maybe you were drawn to adventure because you always feel like you're stuck in place. You always feel like, well, I can't go and do what I want to do because I have to do what everybody else wants to do. That kind of thing, okay? And that will help you so much, pile number one. So honestly, I think your reading, as I said in the intro, some of the piles today are going to be more about like a specific thing you're working on and like a tiny shift that will change it. Your reading, pile number one, feels like this is like an overall, your life will get a lot better if you change this, okay? Right there. Okay, sorry, it took a second. I was feeling for it. Creative power, number 12, release your alchemical energy into the world. And actually, I'm going to draw the second one too, because I was also feeling drawn to this one. The unknown, knowing the unknown, number 5. Okay, creative power and the unknown. Sorry, it's maybe a little bit cut off over here, that card. Interesting, pile 1. Yeah, I feel like oftentimes, pile 1, I don't know if some of you had parents that kind of tried to force you into a certain role. Like, not just in your sibling dynamic as a child, but, like, also perhaps with your, like, your career. Like, they were like, oh, I want you to do this, and you need to be this. Like, just as an example I might use, I had a friend when I was young, and her parents really wanted her to be a certain thing. Or, I'm sorry. So her mother... her parents wanted her to be a certain thing. And so her mother became that, or went into that particular career. And then so my friend, the daughter of this mother, right, when she was, or when we were young, her mother was trying to force her into a certain career, the one that she wanted, that her parents wouldn't let her into, okay? And now that that's coming up, pile number 1, I almost feel like it's coming up because that might apply to some of you. Like, I don't know if there's, like, a family business or, like, yeah, just maybe your parents really wanted you to do a certain thing. Like, oh, you need to be a lawyer, or, oh, you need to be an accountant, or whatever, insert thing here. And I think the reason I'm saying this, pile number 1, is number 1, the unknown, knowing the unknown. There's something here about you needing to go into unknown territory. Don't always follow the well-treaded, well-worn path, okay? And on top of that, pile 1, creative power. I feel like maybe you're really meant for something more creative. I feel like maybe that was some of the battle for those of you, especially that you felt your parents kind of wanted to force you into doing a certain thing. I think it was that maybe you wanted to do something more creative and they wanted you to do something a little bit more quote unquote logical. Okay. So that would also free you. That would also transform your life. And creativity or creation really is transformation, right, pile 1? So kind of a lot of different pieces of advice here, but as we said, it's don't let the way things have been always determine the way you think how things can be. That's number 1. Don't let your past define you in terms of both, oh, well, I've always had this particular struggle with finances or career or my station in life, so I'm always going to have that. So self-defeatism, right? Don't set yourself on fire to let other people be warm. Okay, that was the main one that we've seen a lot here, especially with people-pleasing, so maybe shift a little bit of people-pleasing here. And don't be afraid to do things that are new and things that are creative. And that, my friends, pile number 1, will set you free. Those are the illusions you need to break in life in order to see a lot of improvement. Okay, so some of you, might have come here to this reading thinking, well, I want to know advice on how to get that promotion at work. Some of you might have come to this reading asking, oh, I want advice on, finding the love of my life. Insert thing here. Whatever you came here for this reading, Spirit is basically saying, yes, I know that's important, but there's so many things here that if you look outside the box beyond maybe the one main thing that you came to this reading for and change these particular habits that we were talking about, that would shift not just things in your favor with whatever you came to this reading for, but also your life in general. Okay? So that is your advice today from Spirit on the tiny shift, or maybe it's multiple little shifts right here, that will help transform your life for the better. Okay, so just remember, live for you, pile 1. Don't be afraid to try new things. Don't be afraid to go on adventures, even if it seems scary to try things that are new, or, don't care about what other people say. Okay, what makes you happy, pile number 1? That's what's most important right here. That's the most important question to ask yourself. What would make you happy? And that will set you free. And also believing in the possibility of happy. That will also set you free. Okay, so find your happy, believe in your happy. That's your reading. Okay, I hope that most of all you liked it and it helped you today, this reading, pile number 1. And if so, please like the video, please comment down below, and please subscribe if you can and you haven't done so already. I hate to guilt anybody, but as I have said in previous videos, I do see my analytics, my statistics, and a little more than half of you watch a lot, but you never subscribe. So if that is you, and if you would like to subscribe, no pressure, please subscribe right now. Okay, and as is our tradition, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 1. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 2. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about the small change that will help your life transform. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the card of compassion for your pile leader. And this particular card, pile 2, because of the lotus being prominent in its symbolism. As you all know, the lotus represents spiritual enlightenment or success after a time of adversity because of the way lotus flowers grow through kind of the mucky, dark mud on the bottom of whatever water body that they, of course, grow in. And then they come up to the light on the surface, and that's when they blossom and bloom. So what that tells me, pile number 2, is I think generally what area of your life this message is related to today is all about a time of adversity that you've come through or are currently going through, and this small change will help you attain that spiritual enlightenment, attain that success after the adversity, and or at least will nudge you in the right direction so that things don't feel so unclear anymore, just like maybe, how a lotus might feel when it's on the bottom of a water body in the muck, in the mud, in the dark. Okay, so let's see. We'll get some more details. We'll put your pile leader over here to the left, as always, and we're going to start with one oracle card and your tarot spread. So we're using the Wild Harmonic Oracle today. We will read from the guidebook with this one. It's one of the only oracle decks I read from the guidebook with, but that's because it is a very, very well-written one. Okay, Spirit, what do you have for pile 2 today? Okay, I'm feeling drawn to this particular card. We'll reveal that in a moment. And Spirit, if you please, for the highest, best good of pile 2, tell us more about the change, the era of your life that it's related to. That was not a very good shuffle. We'll try that again. As well as the impact or the transformation. There we go. That was a lot better. Okay, and I don't think some card might have fallen over. I want to make sure. Nope, okay. Maybe we'll draw the traditional way, pile 2. Or at least my traditional way. Beautiful. Thank you for your patience as I've drawn your cards. Let's unveil the first set now. So pile 2, starting with your Wild Harmonics Oracle. Oops, there goes my pencil at the bottom. Wild Harmonics, we have, oh, beautiful, Water of Dimensional. Water course way. Now, we already have a lot of water symbolism. We talked about the lotus, of course, just like all lilies or water lily type plants that grow on the water. And now you have the Water of Dimensional. We'll talk about that in a moment more. And then next up, we have your tarot cards. First card today is, speaking of water, now you have the Page of Cups, but reversed. All right, exploring our feelings around something, exploring our relationships. Then we have the Hermit reversed, coming out of our shell. Something coming to light. Three of Swords. Okay, so yes, Three of Swords represents a pain of some sort. Pile 2. Bit of a picture forming. More cups, more water. The Seven of Cups, though, this time. Okay. That's the transformation. All right. Now it clicked. And then we have the more cups. And speaking of, look at those lotuses or water lilies, pile number 2. at the very bottom of the feet of the dancers or the women who are together. Three of Cups reversed. Interesting. Let's read the guidebook. Though I am getting a sense already that I think I know what this is all about. Water of Dimensional. Apologies for the wait. Okay, now I found it. Okay, water course way, water of dimensional. As the flowing feeling of life ascends into the dimensional expanse, the power of the river is wielded by flowing with it. Meditation, going with the flow and harnessing the power that is moving me by moving with it. This card is the lesson of giving up resistance to the direction that life is taking and investing in the positive actions I can take in the direction it is going. Letting go into the currents I find I am propped up as I am swept along, kept afloat effortlessly. I also find that any action I take in this direction now has the power of the river behind it. Inquiry, or the question to ask yourself is, where can I let go in order to allow more creative potency to flow through me? Okay, so right off the bat, pile 2, at least one of the small changes you might make in order to improve your situation, whatever it is you're trying to achieve, is to stop fighting the direction that life is flowing. Okay, there's a lot of imagery here about not only just water. Maybe you are a water sign, pile number 2, or have a lot of water placements in your chart, as I always say. But like water, water always adapts to the container that it is within. You pour water into a cup, it's going to take the shape of that cup. You pour water down from, let's say it melts from the glaciers on a mountain and it flows down the side. Well, it's always going to take the way that the stone has already set for it. Just like we take our paths in life, pile number 2, based on what direction is available to us. What is the easiest way to flow? Or at least in this particular situation, pile 2, that is the advice Spirit is giving you. So I think if you're going through a time of hardship right now, and I think especially because you have the Page of Cups reversed as your inciting incident or your first card, and that card tends to represent maybe having some struggles with deciding how we feel about something, or having some struggles exploring, like a new relationship of some sort, or relationships with other people. Maybe, recently you've been having some struggles in terms of literally having compassion from others. Maybe someone in your life has been kind of difficult in this area recently, or maybe you have been looking for more compassion from humanity in general. Maybe people have just been kind of harsh on you your whole entire life. I can see maybe that's where, the Page of Cups reversed and the compassion card might meet, okay? Especially too with the Hermit reversed, because oftentimes, pile 2, we're a hermit because we hide away, and we hide away because oftentimes we have been hurt by others, all right? I almost feel like there's a stubbornness to you, pile 2. And that can be a very good thing. Actually, so maybe if you're not even a water sign, you might be actually more of an earth sign. And this is Spirit asking you, lean more into water instead of earth. Instead of being so hard-headed about the direction you want to move in. Instead of saying, well, you know what, other people have failed me, so I'm just not going even to partake or participate. Be it in love, finding love, be it in relationships, be it in, and even if it's not related to relationships, pile 2, it could be, maybe the goal that you've been trying to attain is success with finances, or, ambitions with your career, or whatever is kind of what you came to this reading for. Maybe you had something already in mind. Your best way through is to go with the flow. Okay? Don't be stubborn. As I said with the water metaphor and example, water doesn't flow the way that it wants to. It always flows in the direction it is given. Okay, it doesn't mean it's not powerful though. Because sometimes when we allow ourselves to flow in the direction that life is encouraging us to, it makes us a little bit easier on us. It makes us a little bit less about like, well, where am I going or how am I going to get through this? And more about, okay, like, I'm trying to think of a good example, pile 2. Maybe I'm not saying that very well, but it frees us up more brain space and more mental energy and emotional energy for other things, okay? I think you've been fighting too hard against something. So if you give up the fight a little bit, everything will flow a bit easier, okay? Don't worry so much about trying to force things. Go where life is taking you. Okay. Yes. And then we have the Hermit reversed. Now, that might be another kind of a sub-message to the change being asked of you. Like I said, number one, go with the flow a little bit more, be less stubborn. The Hermit reversed pile 2 as an advice card is often about giving up isolation and giving up thinking so much about like finding all of our knowledge internally and becoming more social or coming out of our shell more and finding more wisdom from outside of ourselves rather than within. Okay, maybe recently, pile 2, life has been urging you in the direction of more socialization. Maybe you've had more opportunities come up out of the blue of people saying, hey, you want to come to this thing? And maybe you've been turning it down just because you're like, well, I'm not really feeling it. I'm not really. Pile 2, if that has been happening to you, that is spirit trying to give you a course for your river and your energy to flow. So if you have been giving those opportunities recently, take them. When they come in the future, take them, especially when it comes to getting out of your shell more. Okay? And as I said, I know I was picking up, I think at least some of you maybe have had issues in the past with a feeling of, well, humanity hasn't treated me very well. Other people haven't treated me very well. So I've turned my back on humanity and other people. And I 100% get that, pile number 2, because I guarantee you every single person watching this, myself included, or I guess I'm not watching, I'm recording. You know what I mean, though? We have had times where we felt so fed up with other people. We felt, you know what, I can't stand humanity and other people and the way others can be so selfish or cruel or mean or, insert bad adjective here, that I'm just going to go on my shell, screw the rest of you, bye-bye. Okay, that's 100% understandable, pile number 2. But sometimes, although it's good to reflect internally, it's good to be comfortable with ourselves, there are so many immeasurable good things that can come in forging connections with others. Okay, so that's another thing. If you've been coming up across, dead ends, maybe you've been coming up across things that you wish could change, that's another piece of advice. Get out there more. Okay? It's almost like a lake or a pond finally opening up a little channel. It doesn't have to be a big one. It could be just a tiny little step a day, pile 2. A tiny little channel that is just a stream just going in one other direction. Maybe it meets another lake, another pond. And it has made all the more progress because it led at least that one little stream of connection out to other people. Okay. And then we have the Three of Swords as your heart of the matter. The Three of Swords is a card of pain. And that was, I was talking about, pile 2. I think that's where intuitively I was picking up on, like, maybe other people have failed you a lot, and especially in, like, maybe relationships or just other people in general you don't like because you're like, man, I've been really jaded about my experiences here on Earth. Because the Three of Swords is the card of pain. Pile 2. That's the card of literally the opposite of compassion, is I have had pain inflicted upon me. Okay. As much as, it is very understandable to not want to approach new things again that caused us pain in the past. Very normal, pile 2, because literally as when we were children, how did you learn not to touch the hot stove? Well, either your parent told you and you listened, or you touched the hot stove and you learned, ouch, right? So our brains, pile 2, when we associate something with pain, logical or not, we are always averse to trying to go against that thing again. Pain is ouchy. We don't want to go towards that again. We don't want to touch that hot stove again. But that doesn't mean every single time we reach out that we will get cut or burned or hurt. Okay? So another little shift here is believing again in the optimism of possibility. Okay? Believing that it can get better. Believing that it won't always be the same. Believing that there are good people on this earth and not everybody is going to hurt you the way others have hurt you in the past. That will also help you transform your life, pile 2. And then we have the Seven of Cups and the Three of Cups reversed at the end here. Lots of cups energy, lots of water, a lot about our emotions and our feelings and our relationships. Seven of Cups specifically, though, is about the different choices we have in life. Separating illusion from reality, dreams from fantasy versus what is actually tangible and what we can take action on. I think, too, pile 2, if you were to take these pieces of advice that we've discussed so far into your own hands and make these changes, It will help you attain a dream of yours with the Seven of Cups. Also, speaking of getting out more, we have the Three of Cups reversed, which can mean avoiding social situations, as we were discussing before with the Hermit, right? But it can also mean, especially in tangent with everything else we've talked about, plus the Seven of Cups next to it, it can mean finding a tribe of people that you link well with, or you get along well with, okay? A found family of sorts, okay? Right now, you might believe that's only a fantasy. There aren't really that many good people on this earth because of your past experiences jading you, like the lotus growing through the mud. You've had a lot of mud, pile number 2. Understandable. I get why you wouldn't want to keep trying to grow up past it, at least in terms of like the metaphor of the lotus growing through the mud, growing up past the mud, because you might just think, well, it's always just going to be more mud, right? But as I said, there's so much value in connecting with other people. Not just in the value of what they teach you, pile 2, but also what you can teach others. Okay? And that will help you understand the true broad spectrum of what is possible out there in your connections with others. Okay? So you might have come to this reading, as I said before, maybe I said with the other pile, I can't remember, either way. You might have come to this reading, I want advice on what shift I can make in my career. I want advice on what shift I can make in dating. I want advice on what shift I can make in whatever I'm trying to manifest. You have an overall kind of suggestion reading here, pile 2, where yes, maybe we didn't 100% address the specific thing that you were asking about or wondering about from Spirit, but this will make broad ripple effect changes that probably eventually will affect the thing that you were looking for transformation within. Okay, go with the flow, connect more to others, believe in the possibility of positive human connection. Okay, believe. Maybe that's why you were drawn to compassion. Psychologically, when you drew your pile leader, or you picked your pile leader, I should say, you wish you had found more compassion from others in the past, pile 2. And that is what you will find if you don't give up. You will find that compassion. You will find that light and that surface, that breath of fresh air after all of that mud. Okay, so let's look at your surrender card, and then we also have a lantern oracle to draw, just final pieces of advice from Spirit about what will transform your path or transform your life or the thing that you're trying to achieve. Spirit, any other advice you have for pile 2? Surrender the drama. No matter how emotionally charged the situation, remain calm and don't contribute to the drama. Staying centered will help resolve the issue more quickly. There you go, pile number 2. We had so many cards about your connections to other people. Now we have another card about social problems. Okay, we have the surrender the drama. Maybe that's also part of it, pile number 2. You're afraid of drama from other people. Maybe you lived a life of so much drama from other people. That's why you kind of reclined into your shell like a turtle. Okay, very understandable, 100% pile 2. But this card is basically saying just because you get involved with other people doesn't mean that that's always going to bring drama into your life. Number 1, you may find people that aren't that dramatic, that actually bring more peace and stability to your life rather than drama. It just depends on where you look, right? Number 2, if you do find some new people and they bring drama, you recognize it 100% easily by now because of what happened in the past. You know exactly who to cull out of your life to reduce that drama, okay? Let's see if there's anything else with this particular card. And then 2, recently, because of the presence of the Three of Cups reversed earlier, pile 2, some of you maybe did come to this reading specifically regarding like a social situation problem. For those of you where that is applicable, basically the advice from Spirit, or the small change, so to speak, is to just withdraw from the drama entirely as much as possible. And that will help make things turn out better or transform everything into like a better format. Or a better outcome, I should say, is maybe a better word than format in the end, okay? And then let's look at your Lantern Oracle card. Okay, Spirit, what else do you want to say to pile number 2? Go with the flow. Open up to others. I'm also hearing a message here, pile number 2. It would be a good idea, and I know this is really difficult if you've been wounded in the past. Trust me, I 100% get it. But it might also be a good idea for you to open up about your vulnerabilities to other people when you are trying to connect to them. Because as much as that might make you cringe, because you're like, oh God, if they're a bad person, they're going to use that as, an excuse just to stab me in the back, right? And that is possible, pile number 2. But what Spirit is saying here is to believe, as I said, in the optimism of your connections with others. You might find a different result this time than you did in the past when you open up about your vulnerabilities, which, of course, as we all know, when you connect with the right people and you're vulnerable, that creates deep connections that are probably, they last a lifetime, right? And then last but not least, trusting tricksters. Well, speaking of bad social experiences in the past, trusting tricksters, number 6. The trickster's only power is your trust. You are always free to withdraw it. Yeah, okay, so this whole reading just screams you had bad social experiences in the past, pile 2. Especially, too, I think with this card and the drama card, I don't know if people just betrayed you a lot, which, of course, my condolences if so, pile 2. Especially, too, if maybe you came to this reading about love. Oh, is that a lotus, too? I can't quite tell what flower that is, but it kind of looks like a lotus in her hands, right? Especially with the long, almost water lily vine and then the way that it blooms. It's similar to the drama card. You are always free to withdraw your trust from somebody. Opening up doesn't mean being completely weak to the wiles or weak to the bad intentions of other people that come your way. Okay? If you go into these connections and these social situations with at least maybe a little bit of awareness, yes, be open to vulnerability, pile number 2. But because of your experiences, you're going to be a little bit wary, right? That can actually also help you, though, too. As the card says, your only power, or the only power that a trickster has, is your trust. You're always free to withdraw it. Okay. So don't be afraid. Believe in your own ability to protect yourself, pile 2, with other people. Okay. As I said, every time you reach out in the future doesn't always mean you're going to get burned like you did in the past. Yes, you might have had a lot of bad experiences, as we all do, pile number 2. Yes, that can really condition you to always fear that every single time you reach out, you're going to get that burned, or you're going to get hurt, or you're going to be wounded, or whatever, the pain here with the 3 of Swords. But you have to separate the illusion from the reality here. That there are good people out there, that there are good connections out there for you. And you have, as I said, but I think what will help you understand that is believe in your ability to protect yourself. Okay? It's not that every single time you come across a bad person or a trickster that you're always going to fall prey to them, pile 2. You have a lot of wisdom now. I believe you can protect yourself, right? And I'm sure you believe that too, right? Okay? So just know, I don't think it'll ever be as bad as it was in the past with other people. As long as you believe in protecting yourself, as long as you stay away from drama, and you cull out what is dramatic or not good for you the moment you see it. Believe in your intuition, too, is another sub-message here with other people. That will also help you. And yes, follow the flow of life. That was the other piece of advice message here. Okay, compassion is out there. Good people are out there. You just have to come out of your shell and believe in it. All right. So that is the piece of advice, or the small changes that will help transform your life, pile number 2, in big ways and ripple effects, as well as maybe, more small goals that, or not small goals, but, more single topic goals that maybe you came to this reading wanting advice on, right? Say in career, finances, say in dating, relationships, etc., family, manifestation, whatever it is you came to this reading for. So yeah, you'll be fine, pile number 2. So I hope that reading helped you. I hope that you liked it. And if so, please like the video. Please comment down below. And not to guilt anybody, but please subscribe. I see my statistics. I know over half of you that watch me regularly do not subscribe. So no shame. But if you could subscribe, that would help me out immeasurably with the channel and its success. And So just a little button click away just down below, right? And as we always say in our tradition, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, pile 2, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 3. Welcome to your pick a card reading about the small change that will help your life transform. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the pile leader of request. We have someone holding an egg timer, and the egg almost sort of hatching in the way that it splits apart in half. So intuitively, pile 3, I feel like a lot of you, maybe not all of you, came to this reading because there's something you've been requesting from the universe. Maybe it's a goal you've been trying to achieve. Maybe it's something you're asking the universe to help you bring into manifestation. Something that maybe you've been waiting a long time for, because look at the egg timer, right? It's like we've been checking our watch, we've been counting down, we're like, universe, when is this thing coming about? And if that is the case, pile number 3, then this reading will help you, I believe. Of course, we'll see with the other details of your other cards that will bring some more clarity, but I believe this reading and the advice that it gives you will help you come to the manifestation of the thing that you have been searching for. All right, so we'll put your pile leader over here to the left to begin, and we're going to start with the Wild Harmonic Oracle and your tarot spread. And as I always do when I read with the Wild Harmonic, I'm going to read from the guidebook, only deck that I typically do that with, because I always will gush about it on my channel. It is a very, very well-written guidebook. The things that it says are a lot more eloquent than I usually ever am, so. Okay, I'm feeling drawn to this one right here. And let's draw your tarot spread, pile number 3. And I feel like you've been so very, very patient with the thing that you want. Asking the universe, maybe praying for it. Yep, look at that. We got the 2 of Wands as your first card. The 2 of Wands is the card of plans for the future. Something you've been planning for, something you've been trying to bring about to fruition, but it's kind of stuck in the planning stage, perhaps. With it's the Roman god Janus, I believe, who is the reason why we call January, January, right? Looking to the past, looking to the future, because he has 2 faces, one facing before us and one facing in front of us. Also, kind of a guardian of doorways, at least the way I kind of see him. So maybe you're trying to bring about a new chapter in your life, trying to leave the old behind. Let's look at your tarot spread here. Oops. Well, typically I actually draw 5 cards, but I'm going to draw, 6, because the first one fell out. And I meant to draw 4, but you know what? I don't always believe in coincidences, so we'll keep these 5 as well. We'll have a 6-card tarot spread for you today, pile number 3. Okay, so Janus, and then let's look at your Wild Harmonics to begin. Ooh, Earth. Shadow of Earth, we have Covetous Designs. Bit of a diamond here. All right, so let's read from the guidebook for that, as I promised. Covetous Designs, Shadow of Earth. I believe Earth is earlier in the deck. Apologies as you wait for me to find it. Oh boy, I think I passed it a little bit. Oh, apologies, pile 3. Feel free to skip ahead right now if you're like, okay, now I found it. Sorry about that. Feel free to skip ahead. Shadow of Earth, Covetous Designs. As the shadow consumes the earth energies, the compulsions of lack overtake us. Obsession that arises out of a feeling that there will never be enough for everyone. This card is an indication of viewing life as having limited resources for one to utilize, and a turning toward the fear of needing to establish an absolute sense of security, all the while not realizing it is the very intensity of lack one is feeling that is keeping security at bay. When I feel like I won't have enough, I put myself into the position of reinforcing that probability. To overcome perceived doom, I habitually return to such feelings in order to put myself on a path of merciless materialism. While there is a feeling of power in such paths, they also addict us to the poison of always needing more. And the inquiry is, in what ways do I think there is not enough for me to have what I need? Okay. Bit of a heavy card there, pile number 3. And some of you might flinch immediately at this description and be like, oh God, are you calling me materialistic? Are you calling me selfish? No, that's not what Spirit is saying, pile number 3. However, there might be some piece of advice here regarding not only being happy with what you have, okay, not always thinking about, what do I lack, but turning that more into thoughts of, well, what do I already have that makes me happy? Or what do I have? Like, it's kind of like that feeling of viewing things glass half full rather than glass half empty. All right, because this is where shadow meets earth, and earth in cartomancy is the materials around us, right? And shadow is kind of the dark side of something. Maybe pile number 3. Security has been a major issue for you in your life. Maybe from childhood, security was a problem. Maybe your parents always were kind of scrimping and saving and struggling and whatnot. Maybe throughout, your childhood into adult life too. Maybe you've had that same problem, scrimping and saving and feeling like you never have enough. So oftentimes when we have a scarcity mindset in that way, that's what we become so obsessed with. That's what we become so focused on going into the future of, do I have enough? Do I have enough? And maybe that's part of what you've been asking from the universe, pile number 3, is, I really want that promotion. I really want that raise. I really want this particular thing. Or, I want to have enough to be able to buy these things. Or I want this status symbol. Or, and like I said, pile 3, it's not that you're materialistic. It's not that spirit is saying that you're selfish. This comes from a very understandable place. But if there were a suggestion and a shift of mindset, if you're finding that this resonates with you, is to view life and your goals not in terms of, what lack am I trying to fill, and view it in other more positive ways. Okay, so let's look at your tarot spread. This might provide, like I said, maybe a bit more detail. So we have the 2 of Wands, plans for the future. Then we have the 3 of Cups, interesting. Social situations, how other people view us, how we are viewed in society, social groups, things like that. We have, the Magician reversed, feeling like we can't manifest the thing that we're looking for. And then we have the High Priestess, intuition, secrets, and mysteries. The Chariot reversed, making sense. And then we've got, last but not least, the 7 of Swords, things that are deceptive, things that are tricky, or trickstery, especially using the coyote from Native American mythology there in that depiction. Very fitting for the 7 of Swords. So, pile number 2, we have the message, of course, of, like we said, just to refresh, you're wanting something, you're requesting something from the universe. Beware of going after things based on fulfilling what you feel like you lack, okay? And then looking at your tarot spread, things that you can change that will transform. Apologies for a bit of silence here, pile 3. I just want to make sure that I'm reading this correctly. The 3 of Cups, a social situation. I almost feel like pile number 3, sometimes you don't even know what you want. Maybe sometimes you feel like this really big struggle, and this is very universal, pile 3, between the feeling of, well, what do I want and what does society think I should want? And maybe part of the advice is to fall prey less to what society says you should want, because of the influence of the 3 of Cups next to the 2 of Wands, because those 2 together can indicate making plans based on what other people or groups of people are saying. And then you have the Magician reversed, which is like you're having a struggle manifesting something. Maybe that's why you've been requesting it, pile number 3. But really, though, pile 3, I feel like one of the reasons the universe is not giving it to you is because of the reason you want it for. The universe or spirit wants you to want this thing, not because of what impact you think it will have on how other people perceive you, or what impact you think it will have on fulfilling that lack mindset that we discussed earlier. Universe wants you to seek and try to manifest things based on, many different things. What is true to your heart and what you truly want deep down, especially with the High Priestess next to that, because the High Priestess, she follows her gut. She doesn't listen to other people. She says, screw what society says. This is what my intuition says. Okay. So deep down inside pile 3, ask yourself, when you came to this reading, the thing that you were asking about, or the thing that you want most in life, or that you've been seeking most recently, why are you seeking it? And of course, you might have the initial answer of say it's you want more money. And you say to yourself, well, I want more money because I want more security and stability. Very understandable. But why do you want that security and stability. Do you have enough now? At least to live comfortably. Or, well, and if so, then why do you want the security and stability? So if your answer to that, whatever it is that you might be seeking, pile 3, when you ask yourself, well, why do I really want this? If your answer comes down to, well, I already have enough in this area, but I want more, ask yourself, why do I want more? Okay? And that answer is part of the advice that will lead you to the transformative change to find what it is you're really looking for. Okay. Now, some of you might be coming to this reading and you're, like, if it does come down to money and you're like, I want security and stability, and you're not in a place of security and stability, like, maybe you have a hard time affording your bills. Maybe you have a hard time, etc. Like, I'm not, Spirit would never say, well, how dare you seek money when you're having a hard time affording your bills? No. That's not what I mean. But be honest with yourself, though. If it isn't something that's like that type of struggle, and it's just you want more because, well, you want more, even though you already have enough, that's where you need to ask yourself, well, why do I really want this thing? Okay. Yes, struggles with manifestation here, listening to yourself more. And I feel like, too, some of you might also, the struggle really deep down here is, I feel like some of you feel like you're lacking enthusiasm for maybe the direction you have in life, too, recently, because of this core issue. And I can say this too, pile 3, from personal experience. I won't go too deep into it because this is a reading about you, not me. But when I was younger, I made a choice in life to go after security and stability and money versus what I really wanted to do. And don't get me wrong, the money was nice. The security and the stability was nice. But I was at my absolute most miserable I'd ever been. Okay? So I'm saying this from personal experience, pile number 3. Sometimes money and stability, or having greater amounts of money, isn't always the answer to happiness and satisfaction in life, which, of course, the old cliche, like, money doesn't buy happiness. And yes, some of you might say out there, well, yeah, it doesn't buy happiness, but at least I wouldn't have to struggle, right? But then you have other problems when you have money, right? Okay, it's like life, sometimes doesn't it feel like life is just designed to always give you more problems? Not to be, negative on this reading, pile number 3, but you know what I mean? Like, okay, so then struggle is money, then you get enough money, and then the struggle becomes something else, and you're going to struggle with this particular thing. And that's the thing in life, pile 3, and I don't, once again, I don't say this to be negative, but there's always going to be struggle in life. The answer to life, in that case, when we talk about it that way, is, well, what is the struggle that I can most deal with? What is the struggle that I'm willing to put up with, but that also lets my heart sing? Like I said, using the example I mentioned before of, like, I chose a path earlier just like this. And security and stability was great. My soul was dying inside. Okay, so I was like, I can't do this anymore. And then I went to tarot, right? But anyways, I like helping other people. I found out that was one of my callings. And I say that at pile 3, sorry to kind of go back. It was a bit of a kind of a side quest there in the reading, but back to the main quest, we have the Chariot reversed. And sometimes the Chariot reversed can make us or indicate that we have a feeling of a lack of drive. We feel like we lack direction. Things seem kind of chaotic. Especially too, if we are establishing our direction based on outside sources. Well, when you establish a direction based on outside sources, you're always going to be tossed to the winds of other opinions, right? When you look down deep inside at what you want, like the High Priestess would, like I said, she says, screw everybody else. What's my intuition? What do I think? What do I feel, right? That makes things more stable. That gives us a more stable North Star to follow, a more stable direction. Okay, and that will also help your life transform. And then, too, same thing, we have at the end here, the deception of the Seven of Swords. There's a bit of a self-deception here in some way. And also, too, if you are basing your direction or the things that you want based on other people, that can be deceptive, too. Okay? It's always better to follow your own guiding star than the guiding star of everybody else around you, pile number 3, okay? Because the only constant in life you're ever going to have is yourself, from birth to death. So follow what you want. Follow what feels true to you, not what it feels true to other people. Okay? And that shift will help you find what you're looking for. Okay? What your heart really yearns for deep down inside. Now, let's look at your other cards here, pile 3. We have your surrender cards, as well as a lantern oracle. Any of their advice for changes in their life, spirit, or actually that one really wanted to pop out, so we're taking it. As well as the transformation, surrender, low self-esteem. Okay, that's another thing, pile 3. Maybe some of this doesn't just come from a feeling of like, well, I want what other people want, or, you know, I want things because I feel like I lack something. It also really maybe deep down stems from low self-esteem. Maybe you think, well, if I have this thing, other people will respect me more. If I have this thing, I'll respect myself more because I'll have greater appearances to others. And it says, you deserve success, love, and abundance. Set an intention to identify and release any remnants of low self-esteem. Okay. And that might be the other influence of the Three of Cups here, pile 3. Maybe like when you were young. I don't know. Were some of you bullied when you were young? I feel like some of you were bullied when you were young, and that kind of maybe created low self-esteem from an early age, because especially with the Two of Wands with the Three of Cups next to it is like plotting your future based on other people or groups of people. In that case, pile number 3, another really good thing to work on, a shift that will help you immeasurably, is to boost your self-esteem. Okay? Because when you have high self-esteem, like the High Priestess, when she said, I don't give a crap what other people think about, what do I think, right? She has high self-esteem. When you have low self-esteem, you always ask yourself, well, what will other people think of me? Oh, well, what will other people want from me? When you have high self-esteem, you have like a shield around you, and everybody's bullcrap just bounces right off. You're like, well, I don't give a crap. What do I want? You know what I mean? Like, you know, obviously, at least to a respectful extent, right? You want to at least be compromised with other people. You want to at least be, you know, you all know that, pile number 3. A good person to be around, but to an extent, too, you have to worry about yourself. Okay. So work on maybe self-esteem exercises, too. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. You know, once again, I've also struggled with that myself, pile number 3, having really low self-esteem. Not fun. In that case, pile 3, I'm trying to think what helped me with my self-esteem. Well, aging up. Age helped. Age naturally helps with esteem. At least in my experience, the older you get, the less you care about what other people think, right? But also, you know, maybe every single day, pile 3, right before you go to bed, perhaps, think to yourself, what is one thing I did today that I'm proud of myself for? That I did really well, or that I should pat myself on the back for? Something that should be lauded. Even just that one little thing, if you do it, it'll take you 2 minutes before bed, even maybe 1 minute. That will help boost your self-esteem, because the more you train your brain to recognize the things that you do well. Okay? And then we have repair. Number 38, making amends rather than fun times reveals a relationship's true constitution. Okay, so that card, pile 3, is all about... I want an interesting twist here. I'm going to draw just one more tarot card on that to explain. But what the card is about, pile 3, is not just focusing on the fun times with other people and in relationships with others, not just focusing on, let's not worry about problems, or let's not worry about what's going wrong. Let's just have fun and like the problems will go away, right? It's kind of like Band-Aid solutions, right? That card is like focus on what the issues are, and that will help repair the relationship and make it all the stronger. Just like these two, almost looks like a couple, I believe, if not maybe siblings, but or friends too. They're repairing by knitting this back together with the blanket as the representation of their relationship. Okay. Maybe that was also improving the relationship with yourself. Maybe that's the repair. What wounds do you have in your relationship with yourself, pile 3? It might be self-esteem is a pretty big wound with yourself if you've got low self-esteem. And then we have, the Nine of Pentacles reversed. Okay, yep. Knight of Pentacles reversed is the clarifier pile. Clarifier pile. Fire. Okay, I can't talk today. The clarifier fire. There we go. Okay. I eventually got it out. Having the 9 of Pentacles reversed as the clarifier card for your Oracle card. Now I got it out. Okay. I'm trying to think about how to word this, pile 3. In your relationships in your life right now, where are you not getting at least as much as you're putting in or more than you're putting into it or that relationship? That is your guidepost where there might be a wound to be repaired within a relationship that you might not currently see. And when you see what that wound is, pile 3, if you find one, healing that particular wound in that relationship will also be a change that will help transform your life. Okay, so just to reiterate, analyze your relationships. Where are you not getting out more than you're putting in, or at least as much as you're putting in? That reveals a wound. Look into the wound of the relationship that you found that way, and by healing it, that will help transform your life. Okay, so that's kind of a side message there that Spirit wanted to bring out. But in general, too, work on your self-esteem. Ask yourself, why do I want the things that I want? Okay. What are things that are things that I want out of genuine lack, and what are things that I want out of what I think other people want of me? Okay. And you might find, pile 3, if you seek things through your own North Star, as we described earlier, the universe might help you manifest things that much easier. Because sometimes when the universe doesn't help us manifest something, pile 3, it's because it wasn't meant for us or it's not good for us. Sometimes when you find yourself hitting a dead end again and again and again when it comes to what we seek, it's because the universe is trying to protect you. As the common phrase we use in the spiritual community is, rejection is divine protection. Okay, and I'm feeling that there because of all the cards next to your Magician reversed being, it's typically a card that represents not being able to manifest something. The universe isn't saying no because it's snapping you on the hand. Sometimes the universe says no because it's trying to help you. Okay, as much as that might suck to hear, pile 3, we might be like, oh man, but if I got this thing, it would be really helpful and amazing. Sometimes that's deceptive, pile 3. Sometimes we get it and we realize, oh, this isn't as great as I thought it was, or there's some other side thing to it that we didn't recognize, and, the universe knows all, but we don't know all. Sometimes we have to trust the universe, that when it does say no, it's for a reason, because there's something better for you out there, okay? So kind of a multifaceted reading here, pile 3. Every single pile today was kind of like that. I was like, well, what's the small change you can make? And then every single pile, the universe, the spirit was like, here's a bunch of little changes you can make. So hopefully it helped you. Hopefully that this resonated and you liked it. And if so, please like the video. Please comment down below. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. And not to shame or guilt anybody, but I do look at my statistics, my analytics on YouTube. And I do know a lot of you who watch me regularly do not subscribe. So no shame. Not trying to pressure you, but if you could just click that little button down below, right down there, or I guess down here, I guess is where I point, somewhere around this area, that would help me immeasurably and keep the channel healthy and alive and help it grow. Apologies for the sirens outside. And as is our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 3.